Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said on every episode, we got a great one for you. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 episode. So
Yes, we have two guests with us today. We have Jimmy Luis Gomez, better known by his stage name, Taboo. He is an American rapper, songwriter, actor, and DJ, best known as a member of the musical group The Black Eyed Peas. And we also have Jonathan Sachar with us today. He is a producer and actor known for Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, Cross 2, and Rites of Passage. And he is also an attorney with emphasis on environmental issues, real estate, and entertainment. And we're going to be talking to them about Cosmic Radio today, which they were both part of.
And also their stories and just see where this goes. So welcome to the show, y'all.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
So before we really dig into the movie, the last 18, 20 months been rough for a lot of people. So how has COVID affected y'all, and what have you done to maneuver through this?
You want me to start, John?
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'll just jump in. Yeah. So first of all, thank you guys for allowing us to be here to speak on this amazing project that we were a part of. The last 18 months have been, I would say, pretty positive because I've been able to spend a lot of time with my family. And as you probably know, a lot of people in my field, in the music space, we travel a lot, we tour a lot. So to be able to just disconnect and decompress from that, always travel, always on the grind, and just be present in my family's life, my wife and my kids. It was amazing for us. Yes, we had moments where, we were dealing with the challenges that everybody deals with as far as like being quarantined and isolated and not seeing any of our loved ones or friends. But we make the best of it. And I would say all in all, we've been very mindful and very safe about how we follow protocol, how we move. And as far as my professional career, Black Eyed Peas, we actually put out an album in 2020, which was called Translation. And it was a hit, but we didn't get to tour it. So yes, we had number ones on the Billboard charts with folks like J Balvin, who's an international superstar, and Ozuna, and Maluma, and Shakira. We actually got to do a record with Shakira, which was big, but we didn't really get to tour it because touring was down. There was no festivals or shows that were happening. So now in 2022, we're actually going to do makeup festivals that we were supposed to do in 2020. We're doing that this year. And we managed to do a couple of different shows. We performed at the pyramids in Egypt and Cairo last year.
Oh, wow.
We did we did the Global Citizen, which was in front of the Eiffel Tower in France prior to that. We won 3 Billboard Awards prior to that. So we've been active, Black Eyed Peas, but we haven't been touring consistently. So in my just to simplify it, my professional life has been very good, and my personal life has been amazing. Just being with my wife and my kids, and just appreciating every moment that I'm with them.
How about you, John?
I share some of the same sentiments. Taboo mentioned where, my heart goes out to a lot of people that have suffered through COVID, but it seemed like we really reconnected with family and what's important in life and all that stuff that really pulls at you and kind of takes your attention away from what's important. We didn't have to deal with. So I have a farm in southern New Jersey, so I got to really connect with my animals. With my wife, my children, and also write. One of my favorite things to do is actually to write. So I've been doing a lot of writing and researching and doing things that are interesting to me, and spending time with family. So I've kind of enjoyed myself through the last few years, and of course you have to go by the rules. We've isolated and done what we needed to do, but it's actually been a really nice 2 years.
That's like for us, we launched the show January of 2020. So a couple months before COVID.
Couple months before.
And our original plan was maybe 100 interviews first year. We thought if we could do that, be a great foundation. And then COVID happens. And I remember watching everything get shut down. I told Sandy, I was like, we can't change COVID, but you know what? We can drive through this because this might be a silver lining for our show because people like y'all are going to need a place to talk. And we're going to give it to y'all. And because of that, we did over 300 interviews that year, and we're over 500 now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Thank God for Zoom calls. I know you have a different platform media for this chat right here, but thank God for Zoom calls. I did so many interviews. And then another thing, just wanted to throw this out there. I created a company with my friend who's a friend of John's as well. His name is Ben J, aka B Earl. We actually started a company called Skyview Way, and we're catering to the kid space. We write for Marvel Comics. We have two comics that came out. One of them is called Werewolf by Night, and the other one is called Kushala that dropped last year. And this year we're dropping something new. I can't really talk too much about it yet, but we built this amazing synergy as writers, as creatives, as producers to be able to facilitate in the kid space, because we're both fathers. So we had that kindred spirit of wanting to make content that is only specifically catering to inspire kids, especially our kids. And it's been a journey that during the pandemic, we really sharpened our tools. We had ping pong sessions every day of like creative ping pong sessions back and forth. We had Zoom calls. We did interviews together, and we built this amazing company, which is now kind of like what Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, did after basketball. This is kind of like the same thing I see myself doing, is really creating content for my kids, because it starts at home for me. So I'm inspired by my kids, and we want to create content that will continue inspiring kids around the world. And this year, I actually released my first kids book. It's called The Kids Book About Identity. And that was something really personal to me, because I put a lot of my life story in as a kid, growing up of multiculturalism, really not knowing my identity, being Native American and being Mexican, and really finding the foundation of being indigenous, especially here in the United States, and wanting to amplify the voices of many indigenous people. And being part of Cosmic Radio, just want to throw that out there, was kind of a big introduction into being part of a project that really highlighted Native communities and Native heroes like Wes Studi, like Irene. These, for us in our communities, these are heroes without capes. So to be part of this project and actually have me, Marcus, in the movie be a Native character, like that was just a blessing in disguise, because I was not portraying, a stereotype. I was not portraying a gangster or a villain. I was actually looked in a positive light, and we need more roles like that. So I salute Stephen Savage and all the folks that made this possible to really highlight Natives in a different perspective and change the narrative of those stereotypes.
So tell us a little bit about the movie itself and when it actually filmed versus now that it's launching. I mean, because it's been a crazy story.
Well, the movie primarily is it has an environmental tone to it, and it was shot back in around 2008.
Yeah.
But there's one of the storylines is I played the owner of a small mountain radio station up in Idyllwild, California. So we're kind of an antiquated radio station, but we like it that way. We have albums and 8-track players, and so we're kind of a throwback, but intentionally. And it's kind of, about corporate America against, the small business and the large business. So I'm trying to save my radio station. It's really tough with sponsorship. And then there's also up in the mountain, there's a big logging community where a lot of the people's their livelihood is built in the logging world.
Oh, wow.
So they're clear cutting the mountain forests, which really make the area beautiful. So there's that I guess that tension there. So in the storyline, the daughter of one of a senator that actually has interest in the logging community and the logging company, she comes and she's an activist, and she's trying to save the forest. So she goes up into a tree, and it's a big deal because she's stopping them from clear cutting this forest. So everybody wants her interview, and she calls this little radio station, and she asks me, there's some synergy there where she's like, hey, everybody wants this interview. I'd like, to give you the voice, because we can maybe help your sponsorship and help put you on the public, on the national map, since you're just this little radio station. But it kind of backfires because a lot of people in the town, make their living in the logging industry. And so we lose some sponsorship. So there's that corporate America against the small guy, and also the environment and all the competing interests that really aren't always so obvious.
Yeah.
You know what's funny, guys, is that like when we made the movie in 2008 or 2007 or 2008 when it came out around that time,
Yeah,
I didn't really understand the power of my voice.
Yeah.
Until I got older, and I started understanding using my platform and my voice to be of service to my communities. And this happened after my battle with cancer. When I survived cancer, I got a calling which was beyond music, beyond entertainment, and it took me to Standing Rock. And when I was at Standing Rock, standing in solidarity, protecting the sacred land and the water that was going to be infiltrated by the Dakota Access Pipeline that was supposed to be in the Missouri River, I felt the activism activate. I felt me go into action. And although that was something that was part of this movie, I didn't realize what that meant. The power of being of service, you know, and making sure that you stand for something, and a cause where we were just protecting sacred ground from the local tribes, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And there was native relatives and there was non-native relatives that were standing in solidarity, protecting this sacred land from a imperial economic company like DAPL that wanted to put a pipeline in. They didn't care who it affected. They didn't care if the oil would seep into the water where the local tribes have to drink from this water. So for me, it was a calling that activated this new lease on life. I felt like it was my healing after I beat cancer. I felt like it was something that I was destined to do beyond Black Eyed Peas, beyond music, to be an activist and be of service to indigenous communities and really use my voice for the good.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I love that. Now
That's awesome.
As y'all know out there, a lot of people, they see the glory in what y'all do, and y'all got long careers and all that, and years, music, movies, and all that. But people don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes to get to the top. And I always want to talk about that because I think, you know, on all these shows, you have a lot of people. They think, you know, they talk about the good, and that's great. We have to talk about that.
Oh, yes.
But nobody talks about the ugly side of it, the hardcore sacrifices that an artist, that an actor must go through to get there. And I always want to talk about it. So tell us a little bit about the sacrifices and struggles both of y'all have had to make just to get to where y'all are today.
I think Taboo can really speak to that much better, since he's really on the world stage and puts it all out there for everyone. And he's at such a different level. So I'd love to.
Well, first of all, thank you, John. Just on a very simple, just human level, I was a teen parent. I had my son at 18 years old. I started my group Black Eyed Peas in when I was 19. I knew that was going to be my journey and my career, but I had to, you know, really understand work ethic. And so I worked at Disneyland during the day, picking up horse manure in 1995. And at night I was pursuing my dream as a Black Eyed Pea. And I didn't really know what it was going to be, but I knew that if I believe in myself and my group, that it could take us somewhere, whatever capacity of success that meant, you know, whatever we had to do to really show that we wanted to make it in the business, we did, you know, and we sacrificed. I sacrificed being away from my son at a very young age to pursue my dreams. But, you know, it was just the learning curve. I was a kid myself. So within that, I also started indulging in excessive nightlife and partying. And, you know, I did that for a long time. And in 2007, I believe prior to me meeting John, I got on the path of sobriety. And I actually wrote a book about it called Falling Up. And it's something that a lot of people in our industry, in the entertainment business, go through, but a lot of us don't make it. A lot of us don't survive. So that's something that I really am passionate about. I'm very keen on celebrating and championing sobriety, because that's something
14 years here.
Yes, sir. There it is. 14 years for
after
me.
19 years of addiction.
Yeah, you see? So that journey doing cosmic radio, it allowed me to really understand the priority, being my wife and my kids, and I've made mistakes along the way, but this is as honest and as candid as I can be to let you know. You ask for things that are not the the high life or the glamour and the glitz. This is the reality of what I've gone through, and it's very well documented. Like I said, I wrote a book about it. But the thing that allowed me to continue championing the idea of that path is knowing that I love the person that I am today. With all the flaws and all the mistakes and all the wins and all the losses that I've gone through, I'm proud of the person that I am today. So if I could be that example to my kids and say, look, I've done some things that were not the right choices, but I want to be able to inspire and to hold them to a high regard as well. And I'm learning along the way, man. Being a parent is not easy. That's the reality. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I thought performing was hard. No. Being a parent. Being a parent is probably one of the
we
hardest.
got a 10-year-old and almost 3-year-old.
We get it. Yeah.
So I'm very I'm proud that my wife is such a great partner. She's we've learned a lot together. She's taught me a lot about myself and things that I need to work on. But at the end of the day, I value everything with different eyes now that I've been sober for 14 years. And also like battling cancer, man, like that was another thing that really affected me because I didn't know what that outcome was going to be either. Even though it was testicular cancer, I didn't know the severity because they were like, you have to go into chemotherapy and it's spreading at a rapid rate. So, fortunately I survived that. And, I have to say that with all that, I learned resilience. So those folks that are watching and listening, resilience is a big key to not only my foundation, but also to my ancestors and how we've overcome a lot of things throughout the years. So I find that to be kind of something that I took from my grandmother. My grandmother was my biggest inspiration. And I apply that to life now. It's like resilient and knowing that I got to leave it on the line no matter what I do. If I'm performing on stage, I'm going 100 miles per hour. If I'm writing something with my partner, Ben, I got to go 100 miles per hour. Same thing with parenting. It's like I want to be able to go at a rapid rate and understand that sometimes you're going to make mistakes, but at the same time, it's a beautiful thing to raise young children to become amazing adults.
Oh, absolutely.
I got sober December 26, 2007.
He did.
And again, our family probably wouldn't be, again, I was destroying this marriage. We were 5 years in by that point. And, and she was a blessing from God. That's for sure. And without her, I know I wouldn't be here and our kids wouldn't be here because we got a 10-year, which y'all will hear from later because we bring him on the show to ask a few questions. But we have, but then, and an almost 3-year-old, and there's no way that if I'd have kept drinking and drugging and all that they would be here to this day.
Yes, and I'm a 25-year cancer survivor, and it definitely does change your perspective and outlook on life after going through that. I had 8 months of chemo and thankfully still here.
God bless you guys both for your resilience and your fighter mentality, your warrior spirit to never give up. Because a lot of us, sometimes the human side of us kicks in and we are vulnerable and we find ourselves trapped into surrendering. And although I surrendered my ego, I didn't surrender my fight. And I kept going strong and making sure that I understood that I never want to put wealth before my health. I never want to put money or career before my health because it's not worth it, man.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, that's just like, before we launched this show, Cindy and I, in our 19 years of marriage, was probably launched 100 different business ideas that all failed.
Yeah.
But
we learned what not to do.
But we learned between each one, and they all kept us going
grow.
Enough until we got to this show. And we're still in that hunt. We still
do our side hustles.
We want to be the Bobby Bones, the Ty Bentleys, the Kelly Clarkson show. So we're still in that hunt, and when we do in the evenings, deliver food so that we can stay afloat and all that while we build this show.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for having John and I to speak on this finally, right, John? Cosmic Radio.
It is. It's amazing that it's actually going out, because that's the other thing about an independent film that I've really noticed is how people come together, and it's really not about the money. It's like the person on wardrobe, they care so much about the way something looks, and they're just spending, whatever. They got $1,000, they're going to spend $2,000 on, like, they care about everything they do. And it's just long hours, and it's the makeup person and just everybody on set just cares about things so much. So it's kind of a cool thing to do, is to get onto an independent film set, because people are really there because they love what they do. And that's something that, thinking back about the experience, because it's been a while. So I was just trying to, remember,
Me too.
how everything was, and the environmental message. Now that, I do some environmental law, and I'm actually involved in a film right now called Pretty Bird that also has a really big environmental message. And I didn't realize that I'm drawn to those kind of things. And like Taboo was saying too, is that about being a parent too. So it's that consistency. It's, you're up in the middle of the night, no matter what it is, you have to be there. And it's that sacrifice. And when you're a young person, you think you're so trained, especially I think in the United States, just to go after something for the money. And that's what I think so many people get disillusioned, because they get that fame or whatever, and they feel empty because it's not what's important. And as Taboo was saying, it's really, you can't put those kind of things in front of family and health, especially because people will sacrifice. And I think it's kind of a young person's sport, really. You do have that energy when you're younger to go after it and just really lay yourself out there. There is a part of it that you have to do that and push through it. But then you have to understand there's that balance where you can't burn yourself out, because you're giving up too much for what you're trying to achieve. And that, again, I think that's a young person's sport where you don't realize that.
I mean, ain't it ironic that people will spend half their life chasing that dream and that dollar, and giving up, like you said, their health to do it. And then they finally get that dream and that money. So now they're chasing their health to try to get it back in order the rest of their life.
Yeah. Sometimes we're driven by the wrong thing that we may think that's like, the almighty. And that's the reality, man. Sometimes we're so driven by our career, and we got to make it. And, we got to be at the top of our game. And then sometimes you get a reality check. Like for me, was me getting diagnosed with cancer. It was like, slow down. Creator was like, slow down, dude. Like, okay, I get it. You want to do this solo thing. You want to be on this path. Wait a minute. Let me give you the ultimate reality check.
Right.
And let you know that, tomorrow's not for certain. So you better rearrange your priorities and understand what you value the most. And for me, I value my wife and my kids. And that's something that, like I said, I had to surrender my own ego, because it was all about me. Everything was me. And sometimes I have to catch myself from like making it about me. Because we're in an industry where, you're told this and that, you're held at a high regard, you're on stage, people are like clapping for you, all this nonsense, which is basically noise. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, but we get so caught up in what we do, not who we are. And for me, who I am is what makes me. I'm a husband and a father, and that's who I am. My job doesn't make me. My job is great, it's cool, but that's not the end of my story. My story begins and ends at night when I'm laying there with my wife, and I wake up to my kids, and we're running around, making snacks and trying to get breakfast going, and we're talking about what we're going to do throughout the day. That's what my life is about.
Yes, those are the things.
People always people always called me idealistic for this. But when we first married 19 years ago, my utopia marriage would be a 24/7 marriage. People thought I was crazy, but I didn't want to put career in front of marriage and family. I wanted to find a way to have a marriage that we could always be together, and at the same time build a career around it. And people always call, again, I got called all kinds of names for that. I got called that I want to control and all that. But then I found the one woman probably that was like, you know what? I love that idea.
Yeah, we both love that idea.
and we hit it off right from the beginning. I mean, we moved really fast, and here it is. We've been married 19 years. We've been a 24/7 couple pretty much the whole time. Not saying that we haven't struggled financially. We have, because I've turned down many opportunities that would split us apart. Many opportunities, because I want to build that career around our marriage instead of our marriage around that career. And I know we can do it. And we've gone this far. I mean, we've gone 19 years like this. So why stop now, right?
And we've got our little one involved in the show with us.
That's
too.
awesome.
Our 10-year-old. You'll get to talk to him in a little bit. Yeah, so he'll have a couple questions.
That's great.
Okay.
Well, since this is like kind of a conversation, I have a question for John, because I haven't caught up with John in a long time.
Oh, yeah, go
So
ahead.
the question is, how did you manage to get Cosmic Radio on Amazon Prime and on Apple TV? What was that process?
Ryan Johnson was really the lead on it for a while, and there were some issues with it, just like there are in a lot of independent films where there's just people pulling out in different directions that really weigh it down. I was lucky enough to get involved in production since then. So I started out being involved as an actor, and then I got into writing a bit. So that's how I met Ryan. I wrote a script called Consent, and I think he was working with Bob Yari or Mandalay Pictures back then. So I wrote a courtroom drama that was really interesting. And so that's my path that led me to Cosmic. But since then, I've written and produced a lot of films, so I have better distribution contacts now. So fast forward 10 years, Ryan is still trying to get Cosmic Radio, Ryan Johnson, out, and I had a good contact at Cinedigm, who's our distributor, and they agreed to take it on, and then they have deals with Amazon and all kinds of streaming services. So they reviewed the film, and we had to do a little bit of editing on it. So I got involved after the film was shot and through post to try to get it out in the world. And it was really the efforts of Ryan Johnson and myself that got it out there. But just because of 12 years since then of working and not really thinking about Cosmic Radio, hoping it would get out one day, because it's a nice film. And so Marcus and we work in the radio station together in the film. So basically, my character is a guy named Tyler Stone, and he's just out doing whatever he wants, and he doesn't really have much responsibility. And Marcus, Taboo plays Marcus, and he's working in a radio, like he's holding down the fort and doing all the work, and while me as the owner is just being ridiculous and kind of ripping the rug out from under myself. And,
wow.
Wow.
So I thought, it'd be cool that the movie gets out there. So I'm glad it is.
Yeah, Marcus had that long flowing hair. Unfortunately, I don't have that hair anymore. But
look, I got my hair now.
now.
I still have hair.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a different.
But
time
yeah,
period.
you had that long hair in that movie.
I look at that time period, and I've evolved so much.
Mhm.
It's funny because my son Journey tells me, he's like, Dad, you still had the skeleton face with the goatee and the long hair in that picture. So it's just funny to go back to that time period, because I'm telling you, Chris, that I was just recovering from the addiction. So you can still see like remnants of my face being a little sunk in. I had that little goatee. And I started to evolve and really like become a little bit more healthier. So that those pictures and that time period, it triggers something in me. Although it's good that I see that, because I could reflect and see how far I've come and how proud I am of the person that I am today. But also I'm like, man, I went through hell and back at that time period, man. I put my family through crazy times. I put my crew through a lot of crazy times as well, because I was the wild one. I was the one that was like not.
So you were that person.
I was the wild one, man. I probably wasn't going to survive. And honestly,
man, you still have so much energy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm bigger, better, stronger now than I was back then. And I'm being honest.
That's great.
So what prompted the change of giving up the alcohol and all that?
I got arrested in 2007. And I actually, it's in the book I wrote called Falling Up. It kind of details all that time period and overcoming and, just motivation to help others dealing with addiction. Right. And for me, it was that moment of being in that cell and saying to myself, like, this is what my life's gonna be. Wow, like I'm the ultimate F up, right? I'm the one that's basically in a cell. I had an audition that day that I didn't make. So I thought, like, oh man, this is not good. I'm going down the wrong path. So I get home that night and I just remember my wife's face and my son Josh's face, and it's just like, it was just the biggest disappointment. So I said I want to change my life from that time period, and I became sober. I went cold turkey. I didn't go to rehab. I just went cold turkey, and I said, I have a bigger purpose. This is not where my life is going to end, like drug, alcohol, statistic in the music industry, just another, another statistic, right? So I changed my lifestyle. And yes, I was triggered. My first year was a huge trigger with going to clubs and doing all that stuff that I had to do still because I had to perform.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, I value sobriety so much because, it made me a different person. It taught me how to love myself. A lot of times I was fueling myself with the intoxication to escape.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was escaping, but there was a hole that I needed to fill. And the excessive drinking, excessive partying was the way to escape. And I said to myself, I'm tired of escaping. I want to be present. I want to be aware. I want to be clear-headed. I want to be mindful and empathetic and respectful and all the things that I didn't understand while I was using and abusing. And I really reassessed what was valuable to me. And so I always hold sobriety, survivorship, my relationship with my wife and my kids, my band, Black Eyed Peas, now my new relationship with Ben B. Earl, who's my creative partner with Skyview Way. All these things are relationships that I value and I hold at a high regard. And I learned that through my sobriety.
That's
for
amazing.
me, I remember that I was at the bottom, and I remember I woke up on December 26th, and I knew at that point, I was drunk on Christmas Day, never been drunk before on Christmas, and I just reached out to my creator and says, look, you either got to take the desire away from me or take my life. One's got to go. I can't do this day-to-day stuff. I can't, I know that I probably could have went to AA, Celebrate Recovery and all that, but I knew I couldn't. And I was like, you got to take the desire away or take my life away. And that's where I was. I was ready to take my life because I was destroying this marriage. I already destroyed my first marriage because of addictions. And so I knew I was at my wit's end. And I really felt like my creator said, you're healed. And I've been sober ever since, no issues.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And it's just one of the moments to where, you have no idea what's going to come after that. And I remember when I first told her, you know what, I'm no longer drinking, none of that. She was, of course, still my cheerleader, but in the back of her head, she didn't believe me.
I was like, I've heard it before. I've heard it 100 times before.
Yeah, that's how it is with a lot of partners, because they have heard it over and over and over. And it's like, what's going to make it change? And that's like, most people get, I think you have to really want it. You have to make that decision, but also have that inner strength. And a lot of people, like Taboo had, yet you have that inner strength and that power, that warrior power that you're talking about. I feel I have it too, but not everybody does. And they do need that support. So, I guess everyone has to find their own path, but that's
exactly,
that's how I find with a lot of people have gotten through it. It's like, no, just cold turkey. You got to make your mind up that this isn't for me. I'm going to stop. And the only way to stop is to stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
one of the most important things that I heard Chris say was the healing. I'm very keen on healing. Therapy for me has been, yes, I've gone to therapy, but I also had therapeutic moments where I had unconventional ways of healing, whether it was Reiki healing, whether it was acupuncture, whether it was, performing. I felt like that was a healing moment to be able to give my energy and receive that energy, go into Yosemite and just being one with nature. That was part of my healing. Going to Standing Rock, that was part of my healing because it taught me a lot about, being one with with Mother Earth. And that's something that, because we're so focused on technology and we're in the city, sometimes we could take a little bit of that cosmic radio energy and be about the environment and be connected to Mother Earth. So when I went to Yosemite with my wife and my kids, there was no iPads, there was no iPhones, there was no video games. It was all about being one with nature. And it was different for all of us. You got to understand, we're like creatures of habit when it comes to, oh, I'm going to be on my phone. And sometimes we get so caught up in our phone that we forget to be present.
Yeah.
And for me, it's something that I had to learn how to understand mindfulness and be aware, be present in my kids' life. And so now we've made a tradition of going to Yosemite every year so that we can disconnect from the technology. And I know it's a balance, ladies and gentlemen. It's a balance. So I get that. I'm not saying disconnect from technology 100%, but for that time that we're here as a family, as being connected with Mother Earth, let's disconnect from technology and the distractions, because that's what they are, man. They're distractions.
Yeah, I remember a couple years after I got sober, I was starting the healing process, and she was here. She had a little cough because she's a little sick right now, but I could tell that she wasn't healing, but I was. So I remember sitting her down on the bed one day in 2010 and says, "Look, I know I put you through a lot the first 5 years of our marriage with the alcohol and all that." I was like, "I get it. I need you, for your sake, to tell me everything I put you through those first years and tell me how you felt, what went through your mind in that time." And she was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "And I'll zip. I won't say nothing. I won't correct it because I know that you'll be right." And I let her just tell me. And I'll be honest, 20, 30, 40 minutes in, I'm sitting there like, "Oh God, what have I done?" Because half the stuff she said, I didn't remember because I was drunk so much. But I knew that I couldn't stop her because I knew that this was her point where this would start her healing process. Because without her realizing that I get it, she couldn't heal in our marriage. And that was kind of the start of our marriage coming back together. Because you're talking about healing, so I thought that'd be a great story. Because again, I like you, definitely believe in healing.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to sit back and just listen, but that's important, and everyone has their own process. But I just, echo what Jimmy is saying there. That's strength when you have to be honest with yourself, and just say, like, this isn't working for me, and I have to make a change. But you have to get there, like you did. A lot of times people have to hit bottom to realize it, or that embarrassment, of, this isn't the way I want my son to see me, or my wife, or
Exactly.
But you got to have, but a lot, but you have to have also something to live for, I think, too, that helps, where, but again, I guess it's different for everyone. But,
so
I was never had a long-term addiction, but I know when I did, I had that realization, and I just stopped. Just said, this isn't for me anymore, and I just stopped cold turkey, and that was that. But,
so Taboo, you've been on top of the world, as everybody knows, with Black Eyed Peas and all that. Tell us, what is probably some of the biggest misconceptions of being on top? Because there's a lot of them.
The misconception about being on top, that you're always on top. A lot of people think, because you are hot in 2010, that you can stay hot throughout the years. Unfortunately, we took a hiatus from 2011 until 2018, and we were gone for a long time, and even to this day, a lot of people don't know that we released the album in 2020. But it's just about making sure that we do what's best for us. We are very proud of the career we've had and continue having in 2022. We have a lot of touring coming up. We have a single dropping this year, a couple singles dropping this year. But it's about consistency, man. We're like we look up to U2, we look up to Rolling Stones, we look up to Metallica. Like those are the folks we aspire to be like, because they're still going.
They are.
They're
Absolutely.
going. Red Hot Chili Peppers are going. Like those are the iconic. Those are the iconic figures for us. The fact that Rolling Stones can do their thing. I'm not trying to be 60 years old talking about pump it louder, jumping up on stage. And, I got a feeling tonight's gonna be. It's like I don't want to be the old guy singing those songs. I'm being honest with you guys. I don't want to be 70 years old singing those songs. Yeah. So for right now that I'm still vibing and I still got my legs and I can still jump around and dance and all that, that's cool. But it's like you just gotta find ways to continue evolving. And for me, it's been able to tap into the kids space, like I told you earlier, writing comics for Marvel, creating a kids book about identity, creating animation with Cartoon Network, doing some production with Gaumont Studios. Like I want to go into that space where it doesn't depend on me touring. It's just like I'm a writer, I'm a producer, I'm a content creator, and if I have to be the music supervisor or create music, like what's the guy from that works with Tim Burton all the time, and he used to be in Oingo Boingo. His name is
Elfman,
Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to tour. He doesn't have to tour again. Oingo Boingo doesn't have to do a show. Danny Elfman just creates soundtrack and music and amazing scoring, and I would never put myself on that pedestal because he's like the godfather of that.
Our buddy Joe has a question. He said, "How long does it take to film a music video?"
Like I've got a feeling.
Just one day. One day was shot because it was in one space. It was just, there were some outdoor scenes, but that was easy. We just did some guerrilla style shooting on Hollywood Boulevard, and then we rented out a house and just shot it all in one day. So that one is one day, but there was some other videos that took two or 3 days.
Okay.
Those are the more like extensive videos. Like for example, we had a song called "I'ma Be Rocking That Body," where we did the Universal Studios backlot, and then we went out to the desert and shot. So there was 2 or 3 days of shooting and then editing and putting it all together.
And another question, a little bit of controversial here, but what's your opinion on the streaming services and how the royalties work? Because again, everybody has got different sides on that.
Yeah.
Right.
For us, streaming has been very good to us. Since we put out translation, our numbers are high. We were actually the number 2 most downloaded group behind BTS in 2020. And BTS is those are the 20-year-old kids. We've been in the music industry just as long as their age. They're like 23. We've been in the music industry for 23 years, and for us to be number 2, Black Eyed Peas streaming high numbers at that volume in 2020, that was like a big monumental moment for us. But we also come from the tape era where we used to slang tapes or sell tapes at Sam Goody and Warehouse, Tower Records, Virgin Megastore, and then we went into CDs, and then we went into downloading and streaming and the streaming services. But we just learned how to evolve. You got to stay with the times. And
it's a catch-22. It's like you got to have technology. It opens the door for more people.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
but the price comes down on everything. So it's like it's one of them catch-22s.
It is.
Again,
and it's constantly evolving.
And one of the things we learned being in the music industry is our publishing is valuable. We hold on to our publishing. We write our own music. We don't have other folks writing music for us. We write our own lyrics. Me, Will.i.am, and Apple are the writers of Black Eyed Peas.
Because the writers are really the ones getting the biggest shaft of the new services. Because the writers made all the money from CDs sold.
So and then another thing is that we we own our touring as well. A lot of times artists get a 360 deal where they the record label gets a big share of their touring, merchandising, and record sales. Masters, they own the masters. For us, we've been fortunate enough to have a 50-50 deal with Sony with our music, because we just got signed to Epic, and we're with Sony Music. So we learned a lot. I feel like now in this era of Black Eyed Peas,
Mm.
we have a lot of ownership, especially when it comes to touring and publishing, and masters of our own destiny.
Yeah.
So, John, the movie industry has also changed a lot with Netflix and all the streaming services.
Yes.
Because years ago, if you wanted to be an actor, you were limited. But with all this, it's a little different now. So, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on where that industry is going.
Well, I think COVID really amplified the direction, with these kind of Zoom interviews and streaming, where everyone's sitting home and watching the streaming, where the Netflixes and all the streaming services, Hulu and all, they really blossomed and taken in, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're flexing their muscles now. So that seems to be where everything is. There's the giants in the industry, and I know Disney's and Warner and everyone's coming into that field. So kind of it seems like the theaters are really in trouble. I don't know if they're ever going to be back like they were.
Yeah.
You have those big tentpole movies, and I miss that. It was really cool going to a movie, especially a horror film like The Exorcist or even Jaws, and when you have that whole audience experience at the same time. So you're not going to have that on your couch. I guess in the future they're going to have like the metaverse, where everyone has their virtual headset on and you're on your couch.
I kind of don't like that.
I don't know, but it's our generation and the generation behind me or ahead of me that, is used to the theater, but the new generation growing up, and I guess they don't have anything to miss. Yeah. So it seems like that is the future, where people will have a communal experience, but they'll be home, but they'll be able to look around like they're actually in a theater, and they'll see everybody reacting in that metaverse. And so I think that's the direction where things are going to go. And to me, that human contact we're going to be missing. And
definitely.
But when people grow up without it, it's one of those things. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't miss what you didn't have, I guess. And
I will say this: I was so pumped to go see Cosmic Radio at the movie theater in Palm Springs. That was cool, man. Like, we had like a premiere in Palm Springs, and to be actually on the big screen. I mean, I had done movies, like I did Street Fighter and a couple other movies, but to actually do a movie where it was like more about my acting as opposed to me being a villain or a bad guy, it was like this is a movie that I'm very proud of to show my kids, because they could see my range. And although it was like second nature to beat Marcus, because I was drawing from my own, and the choices were basically a little bit of my own personal experience, my own journey, my own way of talking. I felt like the fact that I had a great rapport and exchange with John, especially that bar scene, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was like,
that's cool. Yeah, there's some nice scenes in the movie, and the thing is, we shot that movie very quick. There was long days, a lot of pages. So, the pacing in it, you don't know what's going on behind, because it's just like, hurry up and set this thing up. We got to take it and then move on. We're losing this or late, or bringing people in and out. But when you watch the movie, the pacing is really nice. And like, and Taboo's character Marcus is awesome. And he's really like plays a guy that's giving me good advice. And I'm not really taking it, but he's sincere. He cares. Like, he cares more about my radio station than I do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the thing. Yeah. Palm Springs, we were at the Palm Springs International Film Festival, where it kind of was an audience darling, and they actually added a couple extra shows because it was sold out. And it was really nice to see that with a crowd and experience something with other humans. And that's the thing, is that connection that you have to each other and to the planet. I mean, I don't know if COVID's just something coming out of that, or some of these other things going on with the world, but nature always wins. So the thing is, we're losing our connection, and we're being reminded, and we better listen, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, as y'all know, a lot of people see y'all, but they don't see the teams behind y'all. In our opinion, teams never get the love they deserve.
Don't.
On our show, the teams get some love. So tell us take a few moments just to tell us about the teams that help you be who you are. And I guess, Taboo, you can start.
The matriarch, my grandmother, man. My grandmother was the matriarch of my tribe. She was the person that inspired me to be, you know, chasing my dreams, going after my dreams, never giving up, believing in myself and wanting to be the best version of myself. And then from that, you know, the matriarch system of my grandmother, then I met my wife. My wife is a huge inspiration, not only to our family, but to me, man. Like I would, like what you said earlier, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my wife. My wife was at Idyllwild while we were filming, Cosmic Radio. So for her to support me from day one, I met her when I was sleeping on my mom's couch in 1999. Before I had, you know, success with Black Eyed Peas, she saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. It was like, what she said to me is like, you have potential of being something great. You just don't know it yet. Wow. And that's because I was that's because I was like, you know, I was immature. I was using and abusing, not taking my life too serious, just living day to day, not really having a plan other than, oh, I'm Black Eyed Peas, but we hadn't had success, monetary success at that time. Yeah. We didn't really have a successful song until Where's the Love came out in 2003. And I met my wife in 1999. So she's been there with me when I was sleeping on my mom's couch. She's been there with me when I was using and abusing and became sober. She's been there with me when we, you know, decided to get married and have kids and build a beautiful family. And then I got hit with cancer in 2014. And to this day, we still communicate and we still work on our communication because that is key. So that is my personal group of matriarchs that have inspired me. And as far as my team, you know, Black Eyed Peas, Will I Am, and Apple, they've been with me since we were teenagers. You know, we're best friends. Like that's what Black Eyed Peas is. And there's been different iterations. There've been different females that have come and gone, you know, and salute to them, all the girls that we worked with. But you know, to this day, we have an amazing new singer. Her name is J. Ray Soul that Apple discovered in the Philippines, and she's now touring with us. And you know, at the end of the day, since 1995, it's always been the three guys that have carried and continued to champion the idea of our brotherhood. So without Will and Apple, I wouldn't be here either.
Wow. That's cool. You get to do that with your friends, man. That's got to be fantastic.
Oh, it's a dream, dude. It's a dream come true, bro. And like we're like, you know, we're in our 40s. I don't want to say exactly how old I am.
Yeah, man.
We're in our 40s.
I just turned 50, so
awesome. Yeah, in the music industry, you don't want to say how old you are.
You understand.
But yeah, so like, you know, we've been doing this for a while now, and nothing has changed. We're still the same people to each other. Money hasn't gotten in the way. You know, like fame or fortune or ego, we don't have that. We're able to be as transparent, as honest, and as constructive with our criticism amongst each other, and we never take it personal. We just want the best version of ourselves.
That's great. That's great. Do you find I think when I was younger, I was a little more serious. Like I was a little too serious sometimes, and now I find myself, you know, you're productive, but maybe you're a little sillier, or you're having a little more fun when you're doing it because you're looking around going, wow, these are my friends. And I get to do this with them, and it's special. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know, you just look at it different.
It's just different now for me. Like I used to be, like I said, man, I used to be the first one to go to the club, the last one to leave. I'm not like that anymore. Like there's nothing for me there. I'm not, you know, popping bottles and having champagne. I don't do that.
Yeah, man. So, it's nice to go home, isn't it?
It's beautiful to be able to go to, like when I'm on tour, go to the gym in the morning, get my workout on, go to a nice dinner, then go back to, you know, watch some sports. I'm a big basketball fan and I love, you know, sports. So to be able to go back and watch sports, FaceTime with my daughter, my wife and my kids, that for me, that's a night, bro. I get off stage, then I go back and I'm good, especially with this COVID situation. I'm not trying to get caught up there, man. And honestly, my immune system is so shot from the chemotherapy that any little hint of sickness or flu or anything that comes my way, it could really put me in the ER, and I'm not trying to take that chance.
Right. You're still traveling a lot. Like you said, you're getting ready to go on the other side of the world. What, on Friday?
I'm going to Dubai. Yeah, we're doing the World Economic Forum, and we're performing. Last year it was Alicia Keys. This year it's Black Eyed Peas. Ooh, that rhymes,
man.
Alicia Keys, Black Eyed Peas. Yeah.
You know, speaking of teams, we got our little our 10-year-old. That's our third co-host. So
Christopher.
Sandy's going to go get him
I'll
real
grab
quick.
him real quick.
And while she's getting him, John, tell us a little bit about your team.
Well, I echo that. My grandmother, she was tenacious and, very educated. She was actually the first female judge in the state of New Jersey. And she was like a bulldog. She was very versed in the law, and my mother, and still, and my father, that basically you could pretty much do anything you set your goals on, and like what Taboo was saying, with hard work and dedication, there's no substitute. But if you work hard and you want something, you normally can achieve it, but it may take some time, but you have to really want it. So I would say my grandmother, my mom, I lost my father a few years ago, but my mother is still like, it's great, so she's very supportive and makes you feel like you can do anything. And then my wife is as well. My wife's actually a singer. I was married back in June. So during the pandemic, it was another great thing was that I got married about a year ago. And, so my wife is very instrumental and that whole support, having that family and my animals, man. I learned so much from my dogs that I just didn't. It's amazing how you can really understand about love and different things just from something that doesn't talk. So who's this?
My name's Christopher.
Hey, Christopher.
Look, doggy.
Oh,
look at that.
Yes. Okay. All right. Hi, Taboo and Jonathan. So, what's your favorite food?
How are you, Christopher?
Doing good.
Good. So you have some questions?
Yes. All right. So what's your favorite food?
Favorite what? Food?
Yep.
Yes.
Man, that's a hard one. I love lasagna. A really good homemade lasagna. That's probably my favorite food.
What's up, Chris? How you doing, man? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So my favorite food, I love Japanese food because I travel a lot. So I like to go to different, like when we go to Japan, I really enjoy eating the local food. I love Filipino food. My wife is from the Philippines. So, they have really good home cooked meals style cooking. It reminds me a lot of my culture. I'm Mexican and Native American. So growing up, I ate a lot of Mexican food. So, I would say those are the three: Japanese, Filipino, and Mexican food.
Because what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Just like my kids.
Can't go wrong with pizza, right? Pepperoni. What's
wrong with pizza?
Yes.
What kind, he said?
What?
They said what kind?
I think pepperoni.
Good.
So it always changes with him.
Yes.
All right, cool.
All right. What's your favorite TV show?
I was just watching that Money Heist. I thought that was pretty good. Just the first 2 seasons. But I'm a fan of a lot of good work, So I have a few out there that I like.
My favorite TV show. I'm a Cobra Kai. I love Cobra Kai, man. I'm a big Karate Kid fan. I love Ralph Macchio. That time period for me, Pat Morita. I'm an 80s kid. So Karate Kid really shaped and molded my nostalgia and my childhood. So I would say Cobra Kai is my favorite show right now on Netflix.
What's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
John?
I think he's froze.
My favorite movie is Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. Love that movie. Once again, it's from my childhood. But I also saw the new Ghostbusters, which I really enjoyed because it kind of took me back to that original Ghostbusters with Bill Murray. And yes, they were in it. Dan Aykroyd. It took me back to my childhood. So I would have to say my 2 favorite movies are Back to the Future and Ghostbusters.
I like Braveheart. Is one of my favorite, just because I think it has everything. There's a beautiful, beautiful love story in it. There's action. There's some history. So probably one of my top movies is Braveheart.
Because what's yours?
Mine is the Minions movie.
Nice.
That's good.
They built a strong brand, I tell you. Because even our almost 3-year-old Caitlin, if there's a Minion in a store, we have to go in there.
Yeah. You know, I worked with Billy Zabka from Cobra Kai.
Oh, you
Billy,
did?
he plays Johnny in there. He was in I wrote and produced a movie called Cross. It was a silly comic book style movie. We had Michael Clark Duncan in it, you know, the big guy from the Green Mile, and all kinds. It was just a silly. It was before Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy was one of those kind of slapsticky, you know, comic book hero type things. So, but yeah, Billy Zabka's been in a couple things, and you know, he's.
Oh wow!
That was before Cobra Kai became popular. So
I've just finished watching the last episode, and you know, it's just like their chemistry, Johnny and Daniel, their chemistry on
isn't it great?
Great, dude.
They're good guys, and I think they appreciate it because they were out of spotlight there for a little while. I mean, Billy did like a documentary called "Sweep the Leg." And he was actually nominated for an Academy Award for it, but that was like the big thing there for a while.
Right.
And then when Cobra Kai got picked back up, I mean, those guys, they can't be happier. They're just having fun and
amazing.
They're killing it. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, he loves to be on the show, and you know, he wants to eventually start a podcast. We told him maybe over the summer or maybe the end of the year or somewhere around there. We'll start him a podcast called like 10 Minutes with Chris, where he interviews celebrities or something.
That's cool.
He's a super.
Hey guys, I apologize. I got to go pick up my kids from school. I just wanted to say thanks for, you know, for this opportunity to speak about Cosmic Radio, to speak a little bit of my personal life, but also like to reconnect with John. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for championing Cosmic Radio. I can't wait to reconnect, like maybe in person somehow. I'll get your info from Benny.
Yeah, Ben's a good guy, man.
Yes, sir.
And if you want to come on and tell your full story,
so good to see you.
We would love that too.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all right,
guys.
thanks so much. Have a good one.
Yeah.
So
wasn't that nice, man?
That was pretty cool.
Said, you know,
that was awesome.
Because normally we have like one guest on at a time, so it was different.
Yeah, a little different dynamic. We love it.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool because, you know, like I said, it was last minute. He's getting ready to go to Dubai, and, you know, we were just kind of notified about it earlier. And so it was so really what a humble, nice, energetic guy, you know, to jump on here because he had like, so that was awesome. So, yeah, you have any other questions about the movie or what do you?
I'll ask one. What would you like for your legacy to be in the entertainment industry? What would you like to be known and remembered for?
I'd like to make a decent movie that, you know, people really enjoy, you know, something. I have fun helping out with my friends. That seems like what I've done mostly in the movie business is get involved with other people's projects. So where I'm going now is I want to write and direct and produce my own, you know, just to have my voice and see if it works. So I'd like to just make one movie that I actually wrote, produce, and direct. And, you know, I'm going in that direction. So we have some good projects coming up. Yeah. Awesome. I'm working on a movie right now called Pretty Bird. That's why I have my my long hair and my beard. I play this guy that's kind of it's another nature-y type movie. And so I'm kind of this guy that lives out in the woods. So I cleaned up a little bit for this, but it's almost like a cross between that movie Pig with that Cage and the movie that's out right now that's doing really well, The Power of the Dog.
Yeah.
It's one of those slow burn, nature-y type films. So I'm still getting some things here and there that it seemed to get better and better. So yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And yeah, I'd like to continue to be a good father. I think that's the most important thing.
So as we come to a close here, what advice would you give somebody who's wanting to go into entertainment, who has the talent, but they're just getting their feet wet? So they've maybe been in a few movies, but they know that they're supposed to do this. What advice would you give that kind of specific person?
I think people really need to be realistic and what their abilities are and what they really want. And I think there's a lot of room in the, because there's so many outlets now and there's so many ways to do things. So sometimes people ask me, how do you produce a movie, or how do you act? I say, really, the way to do it is to do it. It's kind of like stopping drinking or whatever. You just have to do it. So my advice would be, if you're really passionate about it and it's something you can't shake, you have to just do it. Make those videos at home. Now everyone can make a movie on your phone and edit it and get it out there. And if you find an audience, it can multiply.
Well,
but I think you just really have to do it.
Laptop and phone.
We do, yeah.
Yeah. So I just think you really have to do it and try to enjoy it. And, if you want to be an actor, do plays, make your little movies, do things with your family, act. If you want to act, then you should act. And if you want to make movies, you should start making things. And that's how a lot of people started out I worked in the music video business for a while when I first moved to California years ago. I worked with a company called Limelife, and we did over 200 music videos. We did all the big ones like David Bowie and Tina Turner and Prince and Michael Jackson. And, a lot of those directors, though, they would come in and they wanted to be movie directors, but they would come in and start doing music videos and experimenting. And then they made these music videos to make money, and they were very creative. And then they became hired by Universal or Marvel and became these huge directors. But a lot of people came out of the music video world. So that's where it is. I mean, right now there's TikTok stars and people everywhere that if you do things that you just got to keep doing it, and then someone will recognize it. But even if they don't, if you enjoy doing it, that's kind of one of the big payoffs that
that's like with
you
our
learn
show,
later in life. It's not but obviously you want to pay your bills. So I would say just do it.
And that's like with our show. We love doing this, and although it's not paying the bills yet, it will one day.
It will.
But you have a pretty good reach, I hear.
Well, we're working
on it.
Getting there.
Well, that's awesome. Well, you guys are really sweet. It's really an honor, to speak with you and let us share our movie with your audience and getting to know you and talking to your son. What a nice kid,
Thank you.
That's a pretty hard question. Like, what do you like to eat? Like, those are questions you don't normally get,
Right.
And they're real honest and cool. So it's a nice guy. You guys have done a nice job.
Well,
thank you so much.
And we definitely appreciate that.
Yes, and tell everyone where they can find Cosmic Radio.
Yeah, Cosmic now is really on all the streaming services, Amazon, Apple TV, Roku, and all Voodoo and Fantastic. Like if you just Google Cosmic Radio movie, there's 20 different places you can click and watch it. And hopefully you would also click, thumbs up or that you like it. And thank you.
Love that. And, we really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back down the road for updates.
All right, man. Anytime. Thank you so much.
All right.
See you, Chris. See you, Sandy. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.